Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm going to be teaching you all day today on leaving the past behind you. How do you stand at the border of a new year and make sure that your past does not hold you back from your future? We'll have a great study today. But right now, I want to go to some very difficult truth, really chapter 8 of the book of Revelation. I said all month we're going to deal with this. Chapter 8 opens with this verse. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about a half an hour. Now, heaven is a very noisy place. In fact, whenever do you find silence in heaven? Something is about to happen that all of heaven stops to look at. Now, all of heaven rejoices. It's a continual party over every soul that's getting saved. But all of a sudden, heaven becomes very silent because life on earth, life for the crown of God's creation, mankind, is about to become incredibly different. Verse 2, and I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets, and now these trumpets begin to sound. And, we're talking about incredibly painful things beginning to happen to creation. We're talking about a third of the earth burning up, a third of the sea and all the fresh waters being destroyed. We're talking about a third of the sunlight being destroyed and a third of the moonlight being destroyed. We're talking about 1/3 of everything on this earth being destroyed. 1/3 of the vegetation, 1/3 of all the animals, 1/3 of all the fish, 1/3 of all the stars of heaven will grow dark, 1/3 of the sunlight will end, 1/3 of the moonlight will end, 1/3 of all the rivers and freshwater lakes will be destroyed. Now, brothers and sisters, you and I cannot even imagine this kind of catastrophe. Heaven, which has stood and watched the patience of God, heaven which has stood back and watched the love and the mercy and the compassion of God, all of heaven grows silent as God begins to bring judgment upon this world for its sin. Verse 13 says, and I watched and I heard an eagle flying in midair call out in a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth because of the trumpet blast about to be sounded by the other 3 angels. All of heaven grows silent, I believe, because they are not used to seeing the magnitude of the justice of God. They are used to seeing the mercy and the compassion and the grace of God. But now they're seeing that God does judge sin and that God's judgment does come. As one man once wisely said, the wheels of God's judgment grind very slowly, but they grind very finely. All of heaven grows silent as they see this. I want to challenge you today. The Bible teaches us in the epistles, how then shall we live? When we begin to think of prophecy, the biblical application to studying prophecy is, how does this mean we should live? I thank God that He's a God of grace and that we can come before the grace throne. I thank God He's a God of mercy. I thank God for the cross and salvation. But I must also accept the fact that God is a holy God. I would challenge you today. When you look and read through the judgments of God upon a sinful world, make sure that you apply this to your life and go, you know what? God's a holy God. I don't ever want to take advantage, and I don't ever want to take for granted the mercy and the grace of God.